should have set this up last night. Okay, we're learning. I don't know if this is a flashback in the flashback or just normal flashback. That's all I wanted, that the crusty white dog was loved. I want to see them. My brain is fried. It's dog-to-dog communication. You guys have fun. There was a secret third guy. Oh, there was a secret third guy. Hello, friends gamers. We are going to finish Mercuria's Anecdote today, but we can do like probably one poll. So I'm gonna take advantage of that because I'm also downloading something on Steam at the exact same time. We can do two. We have a Unilog. I forgot about Unilogs. Okay, we can do like 2 polls. So I just want to check. I think I'm okay here because there's 1 day left in this one. So I'm like, what ends when? Regulus has 11 days. Flutter Page is 13. And I think I want Flutter Page more because I do want to use her with Jay. I want to try that team so bad. It's not even a full team. It's like 2 parts of the team, but I want to try it so bad. So I'm going to use the 2 polls I have on this banner right here. TTT, it was her birthday like yesterday. Happy birthday. Oh God. Oh dear. Did we flex too close to the sun? Okay. It's Brimley. All right. It's Brimley or a secret other thing. Okay, Mineral, it's Brimley. Oh no, it's Ulu. Oh my gosh, it's Ulu. Now we need Spathodia. We need Spathodia, but I don't think she's gonna rerun. Actually, she might be on, she's on standard, isn't she? Or is it, I know she's on a banner right now. Is it Ripples in the Water? What is she on? Oh, no, it's standard. I never pull on this like normal plain standard. But she also is a beast character. We don't need more beast characters. But I did a little bit of dailies just to kind of uncap my cells. But we don't need cells for all of this. What is this reminiscence? Oh, they're like little cards. Well, I'm curious with, because here's the thing. I've never done an anecdote before. Mercuria's Anecdote is the very first time I've done an anecdote thing in reverse. So this has been a whole new thing for me. We're slowly but surely learning all the stuff about the game, and this was a new thing to tackle. So I don't know what any of this is. What do the cards do? Method of communication, dispatch 1 spirit or someone familiar with spirits to speed up the reminiscence. What is this? So if we send Semmelweis and like Horror PD, do I need to send all 3? I guess. Takes 8 hours. I should have set this up last night. So be behind and beyond iron bars, because I can do 2 more of these. So let's just send them. Dispatch 1 character previously wanted under bounty or incarcerated to speed up the reminiscence. So we have 3 of such characters and Argus. If it speeds it up, I don't think it's really speeding it up. Anyways, ooh, this one's topic 3 is 10 hours. Under the cover of dark, dispatch 1 night owl to speed up the reminiscence. So we have 2 night owls we can send, and then we'll just do whoever is next. So, okay, it's initially 10 hours, but if you, seems like you can speed it up to 8, because on this first method of communication, these were all spirit, not spirit characters, but characters familiar with the spirits. And they all did that. So then we get points here. Oh, so hypothetically, it would be smartest to do these anecdotes like at the beginning of the thing, right? Because doing this here is going to get me 3K. So I need 2,000 more to get the Mercuria Psi Cube. Okay, we're learning. So we're not gonna, I don't know if we're gonna get that Psi Cube this time. We might, because there is like technically, there's a day and 9 hours left. I think it depends on when I log in. And then you get more of these, 1 image box for every 100 activities spent in a day, get up to 3 image boxes per day. Okay, so we're learning how this game works. Also, we have the cans. These are used to unlock the anecdotes. Okay, so we are gonna finish Mercuria's Anecdote today. We have 5 through 8 to do. This will probably be a shorter video just because part 1 was shorter. But I didn't want to like make one really long video. Maybe in the future we'll do it that way, but I don't need to gauge about 1, how long the edited down videos of these end up being, and 2, just how long it's going to be in general. Cause they might throw out all the stops for the part 8 and make it be like half an hour long in and of itself. Cause I wouldn't be surprised. Reverse has done stuff like that before. So, well, I'm still learning how to do the anecdotes and how I want to cover them. We're just splitting it in 2. I don't know if we have another anecdote for the second half of this patch, because this is technically the second half of the patch. No, we just got the Mercuria Anecdote. Yeah, we just got the Mercuria Anecdote. So we'll try again in 2.4. All right, starting with part 5, how to tell a story. I've actually been really enjoying this anecdote specifically. I talked about it in the last video, but the fun thing about this one, and it's not fun, it's a gut punch, is that like, it's very philosophical, but also has like actual like media theory and things like that. So this title being How to Tell a Story, I think is going to be really interesting, because also at the very end of part 4, we had the bit with Onion where she was doing her little journalism thing, and then she's like, here's the story and how it happened. So now how to tell a story, we're telling the rest of that story. And that story just so happens to be Mercuria's Anecdote. Anyways, how to tell a story. The finest jokes are told gravely. I mean, that's the description. My box is covering it, but it's fine. That kind of reminds me of the part, not like the part, but like the phrase that like the best comedians are usually like depressed. I feel like that's what that's a reference to, because there has been like little references like that in this whole thing. But yeah, how to tell a story. Let's finally start 7 minutes in. This video might be a good length just because I yapped for so long at the beginning, but it looks like Mercuria just went back to the jail because she greets Fingers. So I guess she didn't go looking for Pickles, because at the end of the last one, Pickles did get snatched, but it could be because I think Mercuria found the crusty white dog that ate the Rheingold but instead of Pickles. So she also probably knows who's behind the snatching of Pickles, because she might be saying this passive aggressively. We don't know because it's not actually voiced. I'm going to assume it's passive aggressive and she knows exactly who snatched Pickles. So okay, yeah, I figured this. Mercuria found MacGuffin the knife, which is the crusty white dog. I forgot the crusty white dog's name, but MacGuffin is the crusty white dog. We're back to the Head Onion show. I know how to say it this time because she said it in the last video. So joining us today is someone who experienced this bizarre incident firsthand. Please welcome Miss Mercuria. It's literally just her. Because in the last video, we didn't have any parts where there was 2 characters on screen, so I feel like I have to move the box now. I actually have to move the box. I thought I could get away with it. I cannot. All right, we're back. We're still kind of covering Onion a little bit, but it is what it is. We're back in visual novel mode. I should really make this a scene in OBS at this point. Like, I always just move the box manually, but like I should make it its own thing in OBS. Anyways. Onion says, Mercuria, it's true you've located the fabled stash of gold, MacGuffin the knife, correct? The crusty white dog! Listen, I love a crusty white dog, all right? They're cute. They can be little heathens sometimes, but they're cute. But Onion says, could you share with us how you managed to find him in the flesh? I don't remember the voices I did for everyone, so we're just gonna have to rock with it. I'm doing this the next day, and I literally do not remember the voices I gave everyone, so hopefully they're somewhat similar. If you're watching these back to back, it's probably very egregious because also my voice is doing a little bit better from yesterday, so the difference is probably huge. Mercuria says it was a sunny day. So we're back in the story. This is definitely the back alley from Allure Games first event story. But it's interesting because there's Route 66 signs that I definitely didn't notice that were there before. Maybe they changed the posters and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised. That would be a nice touch, but I don't think there's a Route 66 in Australia, but we're in the US, so it makes more sense here. Anyways, she says, the day that I met Fingers for the first time, we shared a sandwich on the street. Back then, he was just a kid studying literature at community college. Another very interesting reference then to bring in Marshall McLuhan and like media theory and things like that if he was studying lit, because I know like degrees in media are actually fairly new. In fact, the school I went to study that was like had a very like new shiny program for it and everything. So it's fairly new in the grand scheme of things. So that back then it probably would have been studying literature would have been the closest thing to that, because a lot of the tropes and things are very similar, like with stories and things like that. But Mercuria says when he visited his mother on her sickbed with a letter of withdrawal and placed it on her velvet pillow, she kicked him out on the next day. Oh, so his mom was dying, so he withdrew from school, which is a very understandable thing to do. It's a very, like, I feel like a respectable reason to drop out. And you don't really even need a good reason to drop out if sometimes school is just not for everyone. Like, you know, I'll say it, I dropped out because of my own health stuff. So, like, it's very understandable to withdraw. And he didn't technically drop it, he withdrew, which means I think you can go back if it's within a certain amount of time. Obviously, he probably didn't, which is unfortunate, but he had a parent passing away, so that makes sense. But it seems like his mom was not happy about that. I don't know if this is a flashback in the flashback or just a normal flashback, what Finger says. After I get out, I'm headed north. I have to try and give him a southern accent. I forgot about that. So north. Yeah, if you're in Texas, north is like anywhere. But that's what he said. Finger says, North's the place to be. Tons of cash to be made and the kind of life my parents could never imagine. I don't even know what he's trying to say there, so we're just gonna ignore it because I don't want to be demonetized. The whole scene's thriving and every shiny little thing you've ever wanted is right there for the taking. Not even a complete dumbass pictures a future for himself behind these bars fighting over who gets to watch an old TV. So he's probably saying this while still in jail, but this is a flashback in the news broadcast. So technically, it's a flashback. I think it's a normal flashback. I'm not sure. I misclicked. What did Mercuria say? But for him, that TV was the only link he had to modern culture while he was locked away. Yeah, I mean, if he was studying lit and media and all that, it's obviously something very important to him. He says, not that there's ever anything good on. Most of the time, it's nothing but ads. Yeah, it'd be like that. Mercuria says, over time, those ads changed him. They gave him an entirely new way of seeing the world. I'm curious because I was like, is it going to go capitalist on us? Because if you're getting your worldview from ads, but it literally mentions consumerism, which goes hand in hand with capitalism. So interesting. The greatest achievement of consumerism is how it reduces the value of our lives. Yeah, that's a whole thing you could go into. Finger says it's all about the labels you wear and what you spend to get them. That's how you measure your success against everyone else. And the winner tears the loser's world to shreds. I mean, if I had money, all the money I needed, I'd buy all the things I've seen in shop windows and TV ads. God, that being like his dream. He just wants like money to live comfortably. Some things never change. Anyways, that's the motive of television commercials. To convince you that they're selling the life that has been denying. Wait, what is this? I didn't read that right. To convince you that they're selling the life that has been denying you. Some things never change, but this is like an actual like thing you see a lot in like media criticisms and things like that. And I say criticisms in like the academic sense sort of thing. Like people study this. I've written papers on this sort of thing. I know because there's different methods in which to go about analyzing media. And one of them I believe is, I don't remember what they're all called, but I think one of them is like a capitalist consumerism based way of going, like method of going about it. And like the whole premise of it is that everything, all types of media are all made for the sole purpose of turning a profit essentially. And then you analyze the media from there. So like, why were certain choices made within the piece of media in order to get the most money? So I think that's an actual way of analyzing media, like critically looking at media and things like that. So interesting that it's even brought up in the reverse 1999 quest. Like, come on. They really did their research. But going back to Fingers, he says, all I'm doing is taking back what's rightfully mine. You know, if all you could see every single second of every single day is TV commercials, like, yeah. He says, that's the only way you can call me someone who's legit and untouchable. Interesting. No, that's actually such an interesting thing to think about. Like, your only form of relaxation is TV commercials. So we're back. That was a flashback. I think within the flashback, we're back to the main flashback where Mercuria says hello, Fingers again, and that we found MacGuffin the knife. What is he even going to do with the money in jail, though? Because he can't bail himself out, right? And it seems like he wants this money once he gets out. And he even said he was going to get out in a couple of days. But I think he set up Mercuria to possibly be offed. So, not sure what's going to happen there. Anyways, Fingers says, you found him? You mean you got it? Mercuria says, yes. And Fingers says, the dog, the one the boss would walk along the waterfront 5 friggin' times a day. Dear God, he loved the crusty white dog. That's all I wanted, that the crusty white dog was loved. Mercuria again says, yes, I found him. Every word that comes out of her mouth flows as effortlessly as grabbing a drive-through meal on a Sunday evening. That used to be a thing, didn't it? The drive-through used to be peak. But now I'm literally too scared to drive through a drive-through because I feel like I'm gonna hit the side of the building. I think it's because the first ever drive-through I went to was when I was learning how to drive, and my parent that was teaching me how to drive had me go through the worst. It was like on a hill. They had me go through the worst drive-through ever, and now I'm scarred. I'm scarred. But she never realizes the weight behind her words. She strings them together like ribbons in the wind. That, you could probably unpack that with everything else here. The weight of words and things like that in relation to media criticism. I feel like you could probably, every single bit of this story seems intentional, which also goes directly into media criticism. I feel like they know what they're doing here. And I also feel like I can be annoying and overanalyze everything because that's literally the point. But yeah, she's seemingly unconcerned with their aftermath, the aftermath of her words, essentially. So Finger says, go on, tell me. Mercuria says he was 50 miles south of Sugartown, out in the boondocks. Where's Sugartown? Because that sounds like a place in Texas. but Reverse has been known to make up things before, but like the things they make up are like similar enough. So I'm like, where's Sugartown? Because I didn't look up the place yesterday. Sugartown, is that a place? Oh, it's a place in Louisiana. I'm unsure. It doesn't exist in California or Texas. So jury is still out on where in the United States we are. But Sugartown sounds like something that would exist in Texas. So I'm just gonna assume we're in Texas because we were at the Texas State Penitentiary at something. Like there was a thing. Texas will do that because it's so freaking huge. There's like 5 different University of Texases in Texas. There's one at Austin, at Dallas. I think there's a Houston one. Like it's literally said like that. University of Texas at Austin. So like that's just a Texas thing. I'm gonna say we're in Texas again, but more accurately, Fingers was stuck in the crevice of a large stone at an abandoned— oh no, we're not talking about Fingers, we're talking about the crusty white dog. MacGuffin was stuck in the crevice of a large stone at an abandoned campsite. So yeah, that was the eyeballs. Fingers says, all right, so where do you get it now? You mean where's the dog? Did she? Mercuria says right here. Did she bring the dog in? Oh, wait. Finger says, only thing I can see here is you and me. This makes sense. Mercuria says they didn't let me bring him into the visiting room. Yeah, they wouldn't let you bring in a dog unless it's like a service animal, and you had like certification for the service animal, but this isn't even our dog. Finger says, what? So what you're telling me is right now, MacGuffin the knife is— and all it takes is a little imagination to picture that, at that moment, the world's most valuable puppy is playing dominoes with a prison guard. That's so cute. They don't know that puppy is valuable. They're just like, oh, what a cute dog. It's Krusty. Because she can just be like, yeah, this is my dog. Mercuria looks like she'd have a crusty white dog. I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of people have crusty white dogs in Texas. Mercuria says, I'll hold on to him until you're out. And Fingers fixes Mercuria with a sharp, rodent-like glint in his eyes. Is that the greed? Okay. Probably. He says, all right. So go on. Tell me. How'd you you managed to find it? He just gave himself away. He actually just gave himself away, and he like purposely— that's on purposely. Because he like added to that. He's like, how'd you two— wait, no, actually just you, singular, find MacGuffin. So he knows that Pickles got snatched. Interesting. The girl stays quiet, her eyes narrowing as she holds Fingers' gaze. Yeah, that was a dead giveaway. And he doesn't even realize it. Yep. Mercuria says, how about you tell me where my companion is? Fingers says, what? What are you talking about? And Mercuria says, my partner, Pickles. He was taken by your man last night. I'd like to know why. Yeah. Gave himself up. Fingers cracks his knuckles, each one making a sharp click-clack sound. So Fingers, you really have nowhere to run, and we have MacGuffin, so you better, Fingers says, yeah, should have figured you'd catch wise that I gave the order. And a charged silence hangs in the air. Mercuria says, that was a mistake. It's corrupting your energy, clouding it with impurities. Oh yeah, she also has an arcane skill. That could have been the dead giveaway. It's already so different now from how it was back then. Watch out. Energy like that comes with a heavy price, one you may not want to pay. Damn, Mercuria. Hollow threats. Finger says, man, back when I met you, making threats wasn't even in your playbook. The first rule is surviving on the streets. Trust no one and always keep a card up your sleeve. I assumed you knew how these things worked by now. Once you found out where the dog was, how was I to know you'd hand it over and not keep it for yourself? So we're doing a dog trade? That feels unethical. I don't know how, but it does. His words stir up a hint of deja vu. I'm curious why. The streets, the trash heaps, half-eaten sandwiches, and blood banks. The life she lived along her journey. Mercuria blinks her eyes. Okay, so the deja vu is just like a blast from the past sort of thing. She says maybe it is. But that isn't how I work. Fingers' face twitches with a sudden buried emotion. He laughs, and he says, I gotta say, Mercuria, sometimes you come off like you're too innocent for this world, but then you'll flip, and it's like I'm dealing with a stone-cold killer. You seem like you've cracked the code on spinning those ironic little tales of yours. Mark Twain said it best. The humorous story depends for its effect upon the manner of the telling. Listen, I have not studied Mark Twain. I'm just gonna trust you on that one. The humorous story is told gravely. The teller does his best to conceal the fact that he even dimly suspects that there is anything funny about it. Fair enough. Waxing poetic during a crisis is the signature of a second-rate literary nerd. Dear God. Finger says, let's be real. In this situation, you can't back out. You've got to say yes whether you like it or not. Tomorrow night, 7 sharp, Black Iron Forest near the prison. Bring it here and we'll wrap this up. Damn. It literally is a trade. Unfortunately, Mark Twain really did say those words. It cut me off for a dramatic effect. All right, part 6. Hopefully it won't take me as long because I did yap a lot during that one. But part 6 is called An Accident. Don't blink. Life passes by in the blink of an eye. Dear God, I don't love that. Don't love that. Don't like that. Okay, let's just get on with it. So we're back at the Black Iron Forest, which is scary. A dark forest lies nestled in the unclaimed land behind the prison. As she walks over the dry grass, the forest merges with the night. In the shadowy outlines, Mercuria sees a familiar shape making its way toward her. Is Fingers free? Hey. Yep, he's been freed. He says, I trust you've brought what I asked for, as per our agreement. And shadows descend vertically from above, the sounds of the highway carrying horizontally from afar. So maybe we are in California. I'm not sure. We could still be in Texas. I don't know. Jury is still out, but Mercuria says yes. A girl a few words. Fingers says, glad you didn't flake out. Listen, we can't leave Pickles behind. Pickles is important. Something moves closer. Nesting sparrows flap their wings and fly out from the spot. It's MacGuffin! Leaf shadows, bird silhouettes, tree figures, and even human shapes, shattered by the sudden bark of a dog hidden in Mercuria's arms. I want to see them. It's MacGuffin! Fingers walks into a more concentrated area of moonlight, his lackey following close by his side. He says, we still gotta make sure. Yeah, that's MacGuffin. Yep. The soft shuffling of footsteps grows nearer. Mercuria stands before him, clutching MacGuffin. I literally almost read it as Mick clutching. But anyways, my brain is fried. Mercuria asks where Pickles is. Understandable. And the lackey, who is also the guy on the phone, who is also question marks at one point, says, where are we keeping old Pickles, eh? The lackey turns his head to Fingers, flashing him an unseen look. Pickles! I was gonna say, I don't like the sound of that. Where's my dog? But it's Pickles! A second bark is heard, this time from behind Fingers. They're communicating. It's dog-to-dog communication. They're just yelling. You guys have fun. The sky is filled with the relentless sound of barking and yipping from the two dogs. Until after a good half minute, the dogs finally cease their uproar. Can Pickles understand MacGuffin and like other dogs in general? I'm curious. Finger says, yeah, Pickles is right here. Here's the deal. We count down from 5. I've got your dog, you're holding mine. We step forward at the same time. Mercuria nods. All right, 5. Fingers takes a step forward. Mercuria takes a step forward. 4, 3, 2, and in an instant, Pickles wiggles free from Fingers and leaps to the ground. MacGuffin the knife, the legendary Chihuahua, falls from Mercuria's hold. So technically not a crusty white dog, but also a little demon dog at the same time. So like, same difference. Listen, I love Chihuahuas. I think they're so cute, but they are little demons. Whoa! Whoa! Who got shot? Wait, what? A bullet rips through the air from somewhere in the trees. From their reactions, it hadn't been from either party. There was a secret third guy? Oh, there was a secret third guy! New question mark guy says, like my mom would always say, you'd have to have onions for brains not to figure this out. Funny, haha funny, because head onion. Sure, whatever. What's going on? Oh my god, wait, this part was called An Accident. So there's 2 hitmen. Why is there 2 hitmen? 2 figures, armed with some sort of submachine gun, curse under their breath as they step out from behind the trees. So do they know about the Rheingold? Question marks says once you pull the bolt and load the round, your timing needs to be spot on, because each time you pull the trigger, you'll fire a bullet. Don't treat this like it's not a big deal. Now focus, AJ. I feel like you shouldn't be saying your real names in front of people. Does that just mean they intend to take them down? Don't love that, but they're gonna run out of ammo, hopefully. So this one's AJ. That is truly a haircut. Truly. And he doesn't say anything, but we do have what could be like a whisper or thoughts, and it says, I hit something, didn't I? Don't love that. Onion! This is not the time! Sure, whatever. Onion says we can now reveal that the suspects have been captured and are currently awaiting pre-trial legal proceedings. Panzo and AJ, the duo responsible for the gas station explosion, so it all wraps back around. They too, just like the other characters in our tale, were after MacGuffin the knife. And yes, both gave us an exclusive interview from prison. For the complete story, be sure to watch our next special. We've made sure to censor the exact language of the interview to uphold the values this program has always championed. They had to censor it, dear God. Oh my god. Cursed. The killers marched confidently toward the person on the floor, stepping over the dazed lackey. Who got shot? Was it Fingers? Has Fingers not been through enough? They squat down and check for any sign of breathing. Panzo says dead. No question about it. This is Fingers for sure. Were they hired to take out Fingers? What did Fingers do? All he did was drop out of college and probably be involved in some sort of gang violence or something, but that's not here nor there. We only have proof that he dropped out of college. Penzo says that's one problem solved, but did you catch where that dog ran off to? Why did you shoot the guy holding the crusty white dog? That is the crusty white dog you're looking for. Just a thought. That's what you wanted. Anyways, I'm not surprised these guys ended up going to jail. They're kind of dumb. I'm not promoting crime, but if you're gonna do it in a fantasy fictional setting, at least try to do it right. This is all fiction, by the way. AJ saw it run off, though. I don't know how they're communicating. Penzo says it ran away. Hell, I can't see squat in this dark. Yeah, that just is further proof that we're in Texas, because if you've ever been in Texas at night, it's so dark because there's so much land that they don't light all of it. I hate driving at night, and I won't do it in most case scenarios for the sole purpose that the roads are not lighted well enough and I can't see, and the only other option is LED headlights, and I still can't see when other people have LED headlights, all right? Still can't see a thing. In fact, I would argue that I'd rather it be pitch black than have somebody with LED headlights near me, because then I'm blinded. Like, actually. But the girl was holding a dog too, which was the crusty white dog for a while. The blinding white beam of the flashlight cuts through torn pant hems, worn shoes, crossing branches, and thick leaves, resting finally on a shadowy form. My voice does not want to cooperate. Panzo's voice is laced with an unmistakable air of despair. Because you did it, you're stupid. Panzo, you and AJ are stupid. Oh, Mercuria ran off with MacGuffin because they hadn't done the switch yet. And Pickles is there because Panzo says this isn't MacGuffin the knife. So what the hell is this dog doing here? That's not just a dog, that's Pickles. We love Pickles. On the grass, a border collie is curled up in the trembling arms of a silver-haired girl. So they did do the switch, okay. Mercuria did not run off with MacGuffin. Pickles is whining, and he lifts his head, staring at the disoriented hitmen, Panzo and AJ beneath the dark sky. We can now understand Pickles again. He says, hello there. Under both ethical considerations and the framework of the law, your actions are thoroughly reprehensible. We got Pickles back. And Doggy says the puppy feels deep disgust and anger towards your behavior. They're gonna be like, what the hell is this? Why does the dog have a translator? All right, halfway. Part 7 is just called MacGuffin. Interesting. All right. Okay, in we go. There's nothing new under the sun. Interesting. I feel like that has to be a quote. But also this part just being called MacGuffin, is it gonna go into the lore? Approximately 3 hours prior. What happened 3 hours ago? We're in a car. Who's in the car? Panzo and AJ. Okay. Panzo says this past month we've hit up 3 gas stations, 5 convenience stores, and that 1 karaoke joint. What'd the karaoke joint do to you? Add on a few rear-end collisions and that fireworks show we performed at that last station. So the fireworks show at the last station was the one that was on the news that Onion was reporting on. Oh, that's the thing with AJ. AJ uses sign language. Okay. All right. Okay. So a flurry of sign language gestures ensues. So Panzo, I'm assuming, is speaking verbally, and then AJ is signing, which, hey, nothing wrong with that. I'm assuming Panzo's driving then, even though Panzo's on the back seat. They just probably didn't want to do another backdrop. Because how would you sign with the steering wheel? Anyways, but Panzo says, I know. The person in the passenger seat. Okay, so Panzo is in the driver's side and AJ is passenger seat. Okay. We got the gist of it. But the person in the passenger seat appears annoyed, shifting his feet on the dashboard and recrossing them. It's interesting to see more personality for AJ, because like in the scene before, it was very like, he just was kind of there. But that's why we go 3 hours in the past to kind of get some lore on these guys and maybe find out why they're so stupid. This has nothing to do with the fact that we're using sign language or anything like that. It's just, I don't think they did a good job of their crime. Panzo says it's not time yet. My silent friend, that's a bit weird. This small time stuff is just to keep us fed. The big fish we've been waiting for is about to get released, AJ. So Fingers? What did Fingers do? AJ starts signing again. And Panzo says, for God's sake, quit whining. The info I got says today's the day. Fingers is getting out. I'm interested. I would love to be able to know what AJ is signing. I think it's a little bit upset. I would like to know what he's saying. Let him talk. Let him cook. Panzo says since their boss went down, Fingers is the only one who's got the lowdown on MacGuffin. After he's cut loose, then we've got to be on his tail. No matter what it takes, we're getting the scoop on MacGuffin. So they know about the dog. AJ signs, so this is why we've been baking in this broken down car for 3 hours and over 100-degree weather. Here's the thing. This still gives us nothing to go on where in the United States we are, because California and Texas get about just as hot as each other. So like, I still don't know where we are. And this is coming from somebody who's been to both places. They both are just about the same temperature. So like, I still don't know where we are. You know, here in Texas, it's March. I'm recording this in March, and we have had fire weather warnings every day for the past week. We literally have the same weather. I still don't know where we are. I do think it's funny though that they just used some, like, they pulled some NPC models that had a gun. So they're wearing like Panzo's wearing like a trench coat in 100, you would die. He says, buddy, you've got a lifetime of wealth, freedom, and peace ahead. What's that against a few more hours in a beat up car? So they're staking it out. Interesting. We're back. That was a flashback on the flashback, and now we're back to the regular flashback again. The smoke from the herbs rises gently. The candle flame sways, and Mercuria closes fingers' eyes. Oh, she's doing like a send-off for him. Oh. She says, may your spirit rest in peace. And Mercuria shuts fingers' eyes, and Panzo's narration draws to a close. So Panzo was just telling us what they did for the last little bit. He says that's the long and short of it. And we have Onion returning? Yes. So Onion says, you tracked fingers to this spot, all in the name of getting your hands on MacGuffin the knife. The journalist's voice filters through the communicator. But you made the mistake of thinking Pickles was MacGuffin the knife, and in your panic, your guns went off. Okay, so they're just, I feel like I called them stupid. Sure, yeah, but I feel like they're just inexperienced, and it's even, Panzo said it, they're just doing this to put food on the table, which is very unfortunate, and a crime is a crime, especially if it has to do with killing people, right? But also, we can't not think about the system that put them in this situation. Like, that is also at fault here. There's layers to this one. Onion says, a textbook example of a killer's plight. One wrong move and boom, there's a hole where a head used to be. That's a little bit blunt, don't we think, Onion? AJ signs, we thought we'd be out of this game after this job. In silence and a quiet fear spread through the air. Mercuria says, you killed the wrong person. What does she mean by that? Panzo says, nah, look, we'd been watching fingers for some time, but we just didn't expect there to be another dog. Right, AJ? It's not an excuse. Fingers is dead. Like, it's not an excuse. And Mercuria, even though she's very, like, soft-spoken about it, she is upset because she says, you'll pay for this. Panzo laughs and says, I'm shaking in my boots. Fine, look, you win this time. But from what I saw, you were the one with the real dog, the real crusty white dog. AJ would like to speak. I think we should let AJ speak. Standing to one side, he seems to have noticed something and signals Panzo to come over. A beam of moonlight slips through the leaves, shining on Panzo's shocked face. He says, holy hell, MacGuffin the knife is here after all. Oh gosh. They kind of are like cartoon villains in a way. I kind of love them. All eyes finally land on MacGuffin the knife. There's that crusty white dog! This 6-inch tall, 4.75 pound chihuahua trembles on the spot, looking at everyone with wide, innocent eyes. I love MacGuffin. I love MacGuffin so much. They don't even believe it. They're like, you're sure this is the one? MacGuffin the knife? And AJ signs it's definitely the same type of dog. The fur's the same, the ears curve the same, even the tear stains line up. Yeah, the tear stains. It's a crusty white dog. Panzo and AJ exchange glances. Panzo says, how do we know it's legit? We already iced someone just to get here. We need to make sure we're really getting what we came here for. Mercuria says nothing, her grip tightening on the little dog's leash. So she's still holding MacGuffin's leash? Panzo says, come on, you really want me to believe you just hand over MacGuffin the knife like it was nothing? That seems like a bad deal to me. All right, I clicked too quickly. But, oh god. Panzo and AJ draw their weapons, aiming them at Mercuria now. Again, there's layers to this. Killing people in Minecraft is wrong, but also, how did they end up in this situation? There's a system that put them in this situation, just struggling to eat. There's layers, and I know that. So I can't be mad at them, but I also can. I also can't call them stupid anymore. Like, it's fine. So Panzo says, how are you gonna prove this dog's the real MacGuffin the knife? And the gun's black muzzle stares at her, yet her gaze drifts upward, connecting with Panzo's eyes. In the heat of this standoff, Fingers' overlooked lackey, standing to the side, finally breaks the silence. I forgot Fingers had someone with him. The lackey says, that dog. No doubt it's MacGuffin the knife. He says, hey, don't shoot. I'm telling the truth. Check behind its ear. There should be a little stud there. The earring, the little earring. That's so goofy. Panzo crouches down and bends MacGuffin the knife's ear. And cry. Panzo says, I'll be damned. There's a stud just like he said. Can you pierce a dog's ears? That feels unethical, but I'm just gonna rock with it as something that can happen in a world with arcanists, magic, and time travel storms. I'm just gonna let that one be, actually. The earring-wearing chihuahua stands proudly, as if aware of just how invaluable he really is. MacGuffin is barking. We can't understand that one. And Mercuria says, I'm not fighting you for it. If you knew my story, you know I've never had a stake in this. They say MacGuffin the knife's belly is full of Rheingold. Are you sure you know how to get it out? There's a couple ways you can do that, and none of them are pleasant to varying degrees. But Panzo and AJ exchange glances. He says, get it out? Were they just gonna keep the dog? AJ also signs the exact same thing, and Mercuria says, leave it in there and it will forever remain just a dog, never becoming whatever it is you wish for. So the lackey says, I've got a plan. At the end of the day, it's just a dog. That was what I was concerned about, actually. The opening of the dog. I said none of them are pleasant to varying degrees. This is the worst one. This is the worst one. I was thinking about this, but in a way of, oh God, can we not? I don't think we should do that. AJ's expression shifts noticeably. Yeah, AJ can't say anything, but is definitely not for it. Yeah, AJ steps back, signing angrily at everyone. I don't blame him. So Panzo translates then and says, he says, hell no, not even if all the gold in the world was in there. Yeah, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. AJ throws the proposer the world's dirtiest gesture, seething with rage. I don't blame him, because I would do the same thing if I didn't care about staying monetized. I would. Mercuria says there is another option. There's like two I can think of, and they're not pleasant, but they're better than whatever the heck the first option was. Panzo and AJ cast a suspicious look her way. She says, if you'll agree with it, naturally. Panzo and AJ patiently walk back to Mercuria, their sleeves torn by MacGuffin the knife, though they appear not to mind. See, chihuahuas are like little demons! Mercuria says the Rheingold is contained within MacGuffin the knife's stomach, compressed through the use of Arcanum. The principle is similar to one of the Foundation's portable discs. The truth is, this isn't particularly easy on the dog. Oh, that's why he's a little demon, isn't it? What we need here is some healing. Okay. Panzo and AJ raise their heads to look at Mercuria. Panzo says, we've got ourselves a real no-nonsense arcanist right here. True. The chihuahua is laid out on the ground on its belly. Mercuria lights some incense, its smoke rising into the air. So we're literally doing another seance. I was just gonna say the dog has a mouth and a behind. There's two ways you can remove things from a dog that, hey, they're not pleasant, but dogs eat things they're not supposed to all the time. There's ways to get the gold, if you know what I'm saying. They're not pleasant, but the dog won't die. So Mercuria's massaging the chihuahua. Yeah, sure, whatever. She says this was, oh, no, that's what we're doing. That's literally what we're doing. Okay, we're doing the unpleasant methods. All right, so Mercuria helps the chihuahua flip onto its other side and uses a pendulum to trace a circle on its back. So it's a mix of like woo-woo magic and actual veterinary practices, it seems like. Okay, so she says this way, the foreign object will be passed naturally, and the process will be completely painless. So she's doing the woo-woo magic to, like, as a painkiller sort of thing for the dog. Understandable. That's understandable, because it is a very small dog. After a long wait, the chihuahua quivers and everyone leans in close. Don't make sound effects for this, please. I really don't want to hear those. Everyone's just confused. Meanwhile, Onion says, what's the scoop? Who's gonna fill me in on what happened? Once the silence is broken, Mercuria begins to speak. She says, Onion. MacGuffin does a little bark, and the chihuahua lifts its head, staring at everyone with teary eyes. The onlookers gaze back at it with equal emotion. What we have here is simply a very, very... all right, it's healthy. The dog is healthy. Silence spreads across the wooded grove. At the moment, corpse lying to the side looks more alive than the onlookers. Wait, what? Oh, it didn't... all right, it didn't pass, if you will. Hey, there's another method. Still not pleasant, but there's something else we can do. Panzo says impossible. Try again. Maybe your arcane skill's the problem. I mean, Mercuria says there is something else I can do. Listen, We have 2 natural passing options, and then we have to bring the dog to the vet for stomach pumping or something. Like, there is a secret 3rd option that the dog will stay alive for, but again, not pleasant. Mercuria pulls another vial from her bag, one glowing with a clear, bright light, not a liquid. She says, I have here a brew made from various herbs. It may aid in the dissolution of the Rheingold. Okay. She gently administers it to the Chihuahua. A minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. As the Chihuahua quivers, the group once again gathers around for a closer inspection. There was method number 2. It's not pleasant, but the dog's alive. Penzo says, what'd you see, AJ? I don't think AJ wants to look too close. Yep, they just are like, we'll do it again. That's how you'll kill the Chihuahua. You can only do this so many times. The Chihuahua's face turns pale. It lets out a few feeble whimpers, its eyes shifting across the faces of the others. Someone save this dog. AJ signs wildly, looking as though he's on the verge of tears. Penzo says, quit making this damn dog suffer. Yeah, no, like you could only do these sort of methods so many times. At this point, it would probably be the smartest thing just to like bring it to a vet and be like, hey, we'll split the Rheingold with you. Because they're already probably gonna have to split this thing. So like, we'll split it with you. Just stomach pump the dog or something. Can you do that with a dog? I'm assuming? MacGuffin is so tiny. Anyways, Penzo says that's just what he said about the damn dog. The damn crusty white dog. So that's to be continued. We have one more part to do after this. Advertising time, which is good because we have been here for a while. Oh my god, wait, is there gonna be an ad break in the news broadcast? The description for this one says, feeling empty inside? Dine on the latest ads. What the heck is that supposed to mean? Like, what? All right, we're back to the Hud Onion headquarters, if you will. So we're back, and Onion says, later, your faithful journalist discovered the final diary entry of the leader of Fingers' gang, the Cheshire Cats, penned on his deathbed. All right, so this is current times. In this heart-wrenching journal, we found these words. What were the words? The last confessions of a gang boss. All right, so it reads, I know my body's failing me breath by breath. As the cough gets worse, I take stock of my life. I came from the Diego family. The last 50 years, I fought just to stay alive. Here, I found work that lets me live. Again, is crime bad? Yes. Violence bad. But also, the systems in place that cause people to come to these places and, like, get this far into it are also just another form of violence. So, like, 2 things can be true. On the streets, people fear me. They show me the respect I deserve. That's the kind of prestige I've earned. But when night falls and everything goes silent, I lie awake, feeling empty inside. The life I've lived makes it hard to love anyone, yet it's something I crave. Again, the systems are just as violent, all right? Okay. He writes, money gives you what you need to stay alive, but love gives you what you need to live. MacGuffin the knife is the only thing in my life I've ever truly loved. I'm gonna cry. That goddamn crusty white dog. I tell everyone I meet there's enough Rheingold in his belly to buy all of New York. Oh, are we in New York? Where are we? Anyways, there's no Rheingold in MacGuffin's belly. I do think that's interesting. It's something you could probably analyze in the fact that MacGuffin the knife, MacGuffin is a story element that is basically just to get the plot from point A to point B. It serves literally no other purpose than to just move the plot along, essentially. And it's kind of what MacGuffin the knife is doing. But also, there's a purpose behind this MacGuffin, you know? Like, it is a major part of the story. But it is also moving the story along in a weird way. But the gang boss writes, it's not true, not really. I'm the only one who truly understands how this mutt's worth more than any Rheingold. It's like just a phrase, it's a figure of speech. He writes, I've taken many lives, but never has a single drop of that blood touched his fluffy coat. Oh, the baby, that damn dog. So maybe the real Rheingold was the friends we made along the way. Quite literally. A sudden hush, an awkward group of people, 2 dogs, and a corpse yet to be dealt with. AJ gestures politely to Mercuria, and Penzo says he's saying his farewells, you strange little lady. Please never say those words again. Pickles is barking again and says you're leaving. The puppy seeks clarification from Doggy, and Penzo says, yep, turns out the mutt didn't have anything in him at all. It was a figure of speech the whole time. Penzo sounds exhausted, as though he has just faced the darkest night of his life. Because they were planning on getting the Rheingold and basically ending their own suffering in that way, and now they're like, there was never any Rheingold to begin with. We're just back at it. Another Tuesday morning, I guess. It's not over, unfortunately. Onion says, what's next for you? Will you keep up your crime spree? Are there plans to hit any more gas stations? And Penzo says, don't know. I'm tired. AJ signs, what? And Penzo says, God damn it. Don't you get it yet? There's no Rheingold, no MacGuffin the knife. It's just a mutt. Well, there is MacGuffin the knife, but there is no Rheingold. Is it Rheingold or Raingold? It could be Raingold, and I've been calling it the wrong thing this whole time. Anyways, Pickles says this is an outcome other humans would usually be unable to so readily accept. Because he hasn't really accepted it, he's like, accepted it, but not fully. There will be a meltdown later on, sort of thing. There's the meltdown. Penzo says, screw this, I'm taking a break. A real one. You know, I've always wanted to leave this place behind. I'm heading to the shore, find a place where I can see the waves, enjoy some good food. Again, we could be still in California or Texas. It's either whatever ocean is over. I don't know where is Pacific. It's either the Pacific Ocean or the Gulf of Mexico. It's one of the two. AJ signs, hey, if we're talking dreams, I could go on for days. But Mercuria and Pickles watch as they sign and whine as they walk off, still silently dreaming with one another as they squeeze back into their rundown car. The door shuts with a solid thud. Still under Mercuria and Pickles' gaze, they drive off into the distance. Can we keep MacGuffin? Please, can we keep him? There's enough room in the suitcase for 2 doggies. Please. I want to keep the crusty white dog. Pickles says, are they truly leaving just like that? So Onion says, what's the plan now? What do we do with this dog? We keep him. We bring him back to the suitcase. It's a friend for Pickles. I love that. Doggy says the puppy is concerned. And Onion says, oh, Pickles, you know I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the other one. MacGuffin the knife. Maybe we ought to start with a new name. What do you think? I like MacGuffin. It's cute. Mercuria takes out the picture of MacGuffin the knife and sets it ablaze with her lighter. Interesting. Mercuria, for why? Pickles says, I never considered how important names are. It seems more so to humans than to dogs. Yeah, because everyone calls their dog like 70 different things. Oh, I literally did not read that at all. What is this? The photo of MacGuffin burns away. Its ashes floating into the air before landing on Fingers' face. Okay, so we're somewhere new now. And Onion says, just imagine. Fingers hadn't gone after MacGuffin the knife. He might still be with us. And by the shore at sunset. That's where we are now. Pickles licks the ice cream in Mercuria's hand. Hopefully it's not chocolate. The gentle breeze lifts Mercuria's hair while the journalist's intermittent analysis comes in via the communicator. She says this thing, which he thought would open the doors to a new world, instead set him on the path to his own ruin. I mean, you can say that about things like money, but again, 2 things can be true, y'all. A half-melted ice cream drips onto the ground, each drop like a thought tapping out a rhythm. Chihuahua pokes its head out from Mercuria's arms. We still have MacGuffin. She rises to her feet. She says, let's go. So where are we going? I thought she was gonna say more, so I felt like I got cut off. But Pickles says if we leave, what will become of the dog? And the puppy is once again concerned. I would be too. I'm also concerned. Mercuria says, oh, you mean this pup here? Pickles says, perhaps we should consider finding a suitable facility for wayward dogs. You know, many shelters are overrun with animals. Like, they just don't even have enough room for all the animals they get. So maybe we don't do that. Maybe we take MacGuffin with us for the suitcase. It's the suitcase's collective dog now. I make the rules. The puppy has a proposal. But Mercuria says, you mean a shelter, right? She sets the Chihuahua aside. Pickles just does a curious bark, curious woof, if you will. And Mercuria says, the shelter. I remember that place. Oh, because I think she was in a shelter for a while, and she's like, well, if they suck for humans, they probably suck for animals as well. We're not bringing this dog to a shelter. She blinks her eyes. She says, a bed soaked in the scent of mushrooms, morning dew dripping from dried leaves. Clothes hung out to dry in the yard are only remembered once the rain starts. And so we wore the rain. Good times, friends arrive and leave, one by one, like notes in a melody. Summer comes, the fans break, everyone cries. Winter, the bugs breed, and everyone waits for what is to come. All of this, just a mere touch of this, is enough to captivate. Are you sure? But, Mercuria says, I had to leave. In the new world, there is always something waiting. Hunger, poverty, misery, strife. Nights blend into days, danger everywhere. They lie in wait, and we must face them. Dog, a joke, or a few specks of dust shining in the sunlight. Each is vital. Don't be afraid. He will live. He has a potent, healthy energy within, pushing him to grow and survive. He will find a place to belong, one much better than we could ever give him. I don't know about that. I think we should take MacGuffin. But also, that is one thing. Small dogs like that are really high in demand at most shelters, so MacGuffin will probably be fine. MacGuffin's again, crusty little white dog. Everyone loves a crusty little white dog. He'll get adopted. I hope. The dog takes a moment to think, then nods his head. Pickles says, I believe I understand your response. So Onion says, you lived in a shelter before. The journalist always cuts to the heart of the matter. But Mercuria offers no reply. I mean, her answer is kind of self-sufficient enough. Onion says, okay, just a thought. We might be able to borrow an infrared positioning device with extended range from the suitcase. If you're worried, then we'll always be able to locate him. We can check in on him and make sure he's safe wherever he goes in this big bad world. So they're just gonna let MacGuffin be a stray? Interesting. At that moment, the Chihuahua twishes its little nose, pokes its head out, and its earrings sparkles brightly in the sunlight. Its sharp eyes catch a glimpse of red in the distance. It's a red balloon. There's the balloons. With a swift push of its front paws, the Chihuahua jumps from the stool. Are you gonna jump the Dude, this is a bridge. Mercuria says, hey. Pickles barks. And Onion says, what happened? What's going on? The Chihuahua's quick, nimble steps propel it forward at speed as it disappears into the crowd. Okay, so it saw a red balloon elsewhere. Pickles says, Miss Onion. And Mercuria says it ran off. So the real MacGuffin was the friends we made along the way. Mercuria and Pickles watch in disbelief as the Chihuahua sprints off. We didn't even get to keep MacGuffin. Literally, MacGuffin was a MacGuffin at the end of the day, I think. Onion says, looks like all our worries were for nothing. He's off chasing his own MacGuffin. Yep. The red balloon drifts under the blue sky, and the world remains unchanged. Pickles steals a quiet look at Mercuria. And we're back at the head HQ. Pickles says, during my abduction, I managed to finish reading Understanding Media. Oh god, are we gonna have like an end bit that like explains everything now? Because that's not necessary. Pickles says, I must admit, his dog-napping approach was much wilder than we expected. That being said, we must still deeply condemn any illegal conduct and support all appropriate punishments and corrective measures. Okay, Pickles, all right. Pickles, were you a police dog in a past life? Just a question. Onion says, well then, let's extend our thanks to Pickles for his insightful account. And with that, our in-depth investigation draws to a close. If any viewers have further contributions to offer, you can reach out to your humble journalist Onion backstage. By the way, if there are any canine communication experts among our viewers, feel free to contact me urgently. We're hiring paid dog speak translators. Oh, and now we have the advertisements. So there's one for Lucky Mangoes, ripening under special exclusively patented lighting. And when they arrive at your local supermarket, you'll find yourself in a realm of happiness. Advertisement 2 says, still fretting over hair loss, stressing over sagging skin, with superstar energy, you're just one sip away from a new you and 2 sips from looking 10 years younger. What is this, the substance? Is this the substance? Superstar energy is just the substance. It's over-the-counter substance. Advertisement 3 says, welcome to a new era of credit. No co-signers or credit checks. Buy anything without worrying about your bank balance. True happiness has finally arrived and you don't need to pay a dime for it. All right, all right. I feel my brain rotting. Thank you for turning that off. Oh my god, wait, is this back at the police office? We've come full circle. The TV shuts off with a loud click. A towering figure in a police uniform blocks the screen. The officer says, stop watching that and listen up. There's been an update in the Black Iron Forest shooting case. We've just received an anonymous tip pointing to the identities of the perps. So the flashback is now really come full circle. The victim was a former member of the Cheshire Cats, known within the gang as Fingers. The suspects are believed to be 2 retired contract killers, and gang violence may be a factor in their motive. Not necessarily. It wasn't necessarily gang violence. It was violence perpetuated by the system and the fact that these people don't have money to survive. We got into that a little bit. It is violence, but it's not the violence you think it is, my dude. But the officer says, all right, get to work, people. Wanted. Oh my god. They're like, boom. So Panzo and AJ are wanted now. Which, is that deserved? Yes. But also mildly unfortunate. Like, 2 things can be true, guys. 2 things can be true. Argus! She says, well, who's this now? Unable to sleep, the night-blind bounty hunter stumbles into someone in the dark. Oh, it's Mercuria. She says, I'm making a call. She lowers the phone receiver, the air around her filled with the scent of herbal incense. Argus says, Miss Mercuria, I didn't expect to find you around here so late. Mercuria spins around, grabs a glass of water from the table, and offers it to Argus. She says, this should offer your eye some relief. And Argus says, how did you know? She doesn't answer, instead heading to the center of the common room and placing a circle of lit candles there. Another seance, baby! Full circle! My voice is almost entirely shot again. I hope my microphone isn't messed up. My nail caught on it. Weird. Anyways, this trip, what about it? Smoke rises, the pendulum sways, and the ceremony is about to begin. She says, I see energy slipping into death, but I cannot intervene. However, by placing candles on his body, I can help him tap into energy from another plane. I hope he remains untouched by the chaotic spirits of that world. Mercuria softly says the last of her words, then begins to dance. As she does, a quiet tenderness and sadness flow from her movements, barely perceptible to most. It is some sort of ritual, obviously, but I don't know enough Mercuria lore to know what it exactly is, but we have subtitles. It's that say this show is inspired by actual events to protect the privacy of the individuals involved. Their real names have been changed. All other content has not been altered. Okay. Onion says, in response to the overwhelming complaints alleging the content of this special to be illogical, irrational, or just plain false, let me take this moment to restate the end credits message. Okay. She says whether this program is rooted in real events is yet to be determined. Its authenticity is left to the interpretation of the audience. More importantly, this program does not claim to hold the final truth concerning all related incidents. Okay, interesting. Is that the very end? The end, yeah, okay, that's the end. Okay, this one ended up being longer than the other one. Nothing Really Matters is the name. Interesting, very interesting. Okay, so we have all our story progress. We didn't get like anything. No clear drop. Were there any clear drop rewards from this? No. No unilogs, no nothing. Okay. Well, we did Mercuria's whole bit, so we can be done with that. We did get Battle Pass, though. A whole Battle Pass level. Okay, I'll take it. That would give us unilogs eventually. Very close to getting those 40. In fact, I might get them today. I can check off Fool's Gold on my schedule. Yay! All right, that is it for reverse gameplay today. I actually quite enjoyed Mercuria's Anecdote. I did. I think it was fun. I don't know who we're getting in 2.4. I know that 2.4 is coming up and they already started teasing stuff for 2.4, but they haven't released the trailer yet, and I wait to look at everything until the trailer drops at the very least. So I don't know what we're getting in 2.4. I think we're going on a cruise. By the time this video comes out, 2.4 might already even be over with. So obviously everyone knows by now, but I think we're going on a cruise, possibly, which could be fun because I don't trust cruises. I think that they are. I just think about true crime when I think of cruises. I'm like, there's the thing that's like, if you're in a certain part of international waters, it freaks me out. So we'll see what happens. We still have to do everything for Flutter page, as well as the whole London Dawning Allure Games event. I haven't touched that yet, but we still have some time for that, so I'm gonna take a little while to do what I think. Anyways, that's it for this video. So if you like this video, make sure to give me a like down below, as well as subscribe for more, and click the little notification bell to be notified when I upload new ones. As always, I hope everyone had or is having a super lovely day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys!